Hello, this is Charlene. We are going to solve, graph, and write a solution in interval notation for this inequality. So our inequality states that we have 3 greater than or equal to 9 minus w over 3. So we'll be doing that part first. And then secondly, we will do the middle part and the last part. 9 minus w over 3 is greater than 4. So we will do that part separately. So let's go ahead and get started on the first part. So we've got 3 is greater than or equal to 9 minus w divided by 3. And then on this side we will work in just a moment. That's going to be 9 minus w over 3 is greater than the 1. So going back to the first one, we're going to multiply by 3 to get that 3 out of the denominator, because right now it is holding that numerator 9 minus w hostage. So I'm going to get my mouse back in business here. There we go. Okay. We're going to multiply by 3 on both sides. We're going to end up with 9 is greater than or equal to 9 minus w. At that point, we can go ahead and eliminate the 9 by subtracting 9 on both sides. So this cancels out. I end up with 0 is greater than or equal to a negative w. So just make sure that you don't accidentally lose that negative. That negative's still there. We need to bring it down. But because we do have a negative, we actually need to multiply or divide by a negative 1 on both sides in order to eliminate it. So it's a negative 1 right there. Oh, there we go. Negative 1 is what we're multiplying by. So multiplying by negative 1 or dividing by negative 1 accomplishes the same thing. But when you're dealing with an inequality, if you divide or multiply by negative, you have to flip your sign. So we are going to flip that sign. Negative 1 times 0 is still 0, but I'm going to flip my sign to a less than or equal to. My negative times my negative on the right side cancels out. So we are finished with this piece of our inequality. Now let's move over here and work this one out. Again, to eliminate that denominator and free up that numerator, let's go ahead and multiply by 3 on both sides. It cancels out there. 9 minus w is greater than 1 times 3, which is 3. I can now eliminate my 9 on both sides, so 9 minus 9 cancels. I end up with negative w is greater than 3 minus 6. 3 minus 6 is a negative 6. Again, I end up with negatives on both sides with the variable, so I need to go ahead and multiply or divide by negative 1 in order to eliminate the negatives. But anytime I multiply or divide by negative with an inequality, that means I'm going to flip my sign. So I'm going to end up with negative 1 times a negative w gives me a positive w. Flip my sign. Negative times a negative over here is a positive 6. So now I have both pieces of my inequality worked out. So now let's go ahead and draw a graph number line. So I'm going to plot the, let's see here, I guess I'm going to change that back to that color. Okay, so I'm going to plot my 0. How about we plot our 0 like right there, and then my 6 is positive, so it will be over here, number 6. Okay, so at this point I go back and I look at my inequalities. So my inequalities over here says that it can be equal to the 0. So if it's equal to it, that means it's going to be a solid circle, because it can be equal to the 0. But over here it just says that my w's are less than the 6. So if it's less than but not equal to, that means it's going to be an open circle. Then back to my first one, it says that the big mouth, let's see, the big mouth right here is, okay, I keep losing my color I want. There we go. Color. Okay. Well, it's misbehaving. But my big mouth is facing the W. So I am going to, oh, there it is. Big mouth is facing the W. So that means that my W's or my mystery numbers, my mystery solution set is bigger than the 0 or greater than the 0. So that means it's going to go this direction. And then the W's on this side, so that they are less than the 6's. So it's less than the 6, it's going to go that direction. So that means that we are going to color in between the values of our solution set. And this goes back to confirm what hopefully we know, that when you have an AND equality, it will be a value, it'll be a solution set that will be between two values. Okay, so we want to figure out what our interval notation is. So we look at our graph, it helps us with this. We read it from left to right. It's like, where does the solution set start? And where does the solution set go to? Well, it starts at a 0. So that means we're going to start up here with a 0. We're going to start at 0. And where does it go to? Well, it goes to the 6. And then it's equal to it can be equal to the 0. If it's equal to the 0, that means it's what I call a hard box. Hard box means it can be equal to the 0, but on this side it cannot be equal to the 6. So that's sort of a soft close. It's just a parenthesis, means it cannot be equal to the 6. It can go up into the 6, but it cannot be equal to the 6. So at that point, this is our graph of our solution set for our inequality, and this is our interval notation. So graph, interval notation, we're finished, and hopefully that helps. Just click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you back soon.